All right, guys, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzini with 9 to 5 Sports. Going to be getting into the top picks and plays here for the Monday Night Showdown slate. Now, in this video, I'm covering the Titans versus the Bills. I will be coming out with another video for the other Monday Night Football game as well. That'll be available a few hours after this video drops, so be on the lookout for that one as well. But without further ado, let's get into this slate. So let's start off with the Titans side of the ball. I don't really know if we need to pay up for Derrick Henry. Yes, he played a lot. It was the same usage and everything. He looked like the same running back. I do worry about the Buffalo Bills getting up early in this one, okay? The Bills looked dominant last week, and, who knows? Like, we saw a lot of teams, like the Green Bay Packers, like the LA Rams, who looked dominant or who didn't look good and then dominated this week, and then the vice versa where, some teams that did dominate in week one kind of came back as well. So you never know, okay? But for the most part, I don't know. I think Derrick Henry is mostly TD dependent in this one. It's tough to see him getting to 100 yards in this one. I just don't see the Titans being able to keep pace with the Buffalo Bills. Now, that does change slightly if Gabriel Davis is ruled out. So, yes, Derrick Henry is in play. Like, you're not fading Derrick Henry. If you can afford to pay up for Derrick Henry, you can try that, but I'm not going crazy with it, okay? I'm not like locking him into any builds. Sure, I'll have some of them. Maybe about 20% of my builds will have Derrick Henry. I'm just not going crazy with Derrick Henry. I would actually rather play Ryan Tannehill, I think, in this one. Ryan Tannehill is always a consistent quarterback, okay? He might not dominate, but he's not going to let you down. I'm not saying this is a lot of DK points, but we can pretty much lock in 10 DK points regardless of the matchup as long as he has healthy weapons. Even last year, when all of his weapons were injured, he was still putting up 10 DK points or more. And once again, that's not a lot, but I'm just touching on the consistency of Ryan Tannehill as a quarterback. He just seems to be able to get it done. So like last week, 20 completions, 33 attempts, 266 yards and 2 TDs. That's solid, okay? And it was against the Giants, who apparently the Giants D is actually pretty decent. We do have to wait and see on that, but they do seem to be decent there. So Ryan Tannehill, you could play if you want to. Now, the interesting thing that we're looking at is Robert Woods. He is priced up a little bit, okay, 2 targets, and he actually had the second most receiver snaps. It was actually Westbrook here who actually had the most snaps, and he only saw 2 targets as well. But Westbrook had 68% of the offensive snaps there for receivers, which I found very interesting. I don't know about you guys. So, just right off the bat, he would seem like the value play that you want to be on. And even the rookie Treylon Burks, why is he priced up this much? It's kind of crazy. I know we had 5 targets, and then 55 yards for 8.5 DK points. Maybe that's what it is, and maybe they're expecting him to get more playing time in this one. But the player that had more playing time was actually other rookie Kyle Phillips, who had been getting more hype out of Titans camp. Okay, he's a guy that always gets open. Now, he is banged up, and we have to wait and see if he's going to play. Okay, if he does sit, that actually could open up some nice value on the slate, especially in a slate in which we do kind of want to pay up for the stud. So we could have an interesting value play if Kyle Phillips sits. If he doesn't, I do like Kyle Phillips. Game script-wise, if the Titans are playing from behind, Kyle Phillips is going to play more snaps. He played about 50% of the snaps last week, which was 3rd amongst receivers. So we could see his snap share increase if they are playing from behind more, okay? And that's game flow. We can't predict that, okay? We think we can. We want to be able to, but you never know exactly how a game's going to go. But he did have 9 targets, which, guys, that makes sense. He is a guy that can get open, okay? He had 6 receptions, 66 yards, for 11.6 DK points. Very solid production there from Kyle Phillips. So I'd be perfectly fine playing him in a flex spot if we had to. Let's not go crazy with it, but I do love that value. Another play that I want to point out is Jeff's, I can never say his name, damn it. Anyways, he had 73% of the snaps, most out of any skills player. That was crazy that he got that many snaps. And I will say Austin Hooper did still see 60% of the snaps. So obviously in that offense, trying to run Derrick Henry 20 times, it makes sense to have 2 tight end sets in a lot. And that's why some of the receivers didn't see as many snaps as you would, typically think they would see. But if he's going to continue to play that allotment of snaps, yeah, this is going to be a nice, safe value play. 4 targets last week, 3 receptions, almost 20 yards, 5 DK points, almost. That's pretty solid there. We'll take that at this price point in a game in which you're trying to find some value. He makes a lot of sense. So value-wise for the tight ends, I would be playing him. And then I mentioned if Kyle Phillips sits, we might have some value. That'd be Cody Hollister. Okay, Cody Hollister, kind of the same type of receiver as Phillips, I guess, just not as good. It's not something I would want to go crazy with at all, okay? And I wish he was actually cheaper. I don't really get how he's this high price. I'm guessing it is because Kyle Phillips is inactive, but he'd be the player that I'd look at value-wise if Kyle Phillips sits. And once again, I wish he was 200. I don't know how he's like that priced up. It has to be because Kyle Phillips is sitting, which is is questionable. And if he were to sit, DraftKings is already telling us that it would be most likely be Cody Hollister that would fill in there, unfortunately. Okay, so I don't think we have to go crazy with Tennessee Titans players. Let's flip over into the Buffalo Bills side of it. So Buffalo Bills side of it, obviously you want to try to get on all of them. Okay, the Tennessee Titans defense did not look good last year. That continued into last week. Actually, this Titans defense made Saquon Barkley look like a stud. Okay, guys, they gave up 238 rushing yards total and a touchdown. And Saquon Barkley was also very active in the passing game, had like 6 receptions for 30 yards. Okay, Barkley dominated. And then we saw in this last week, Barkley did not dominate. So either the Panthers defense really stepped up and played better from what they did last week, okay, or the Tennessee Titans defense is really just that bad against the run. And if they are that bad against the run, we probably want to be loading up on the running back number 1 for the Buffalo Bills, and I do expect that to be Devin Singletary. Okay, the only problem with him is he saw less opportunities than did Zach Moss. Zach Moss had 12 opportunities, targets plus rushing attempts. Devin Singletary only had 10. Now, Devin Singletary looked really good doing that, okay, and it was just kind of game flow a little bit where Zach Moss was just in the game when those opportunities came his way. It's just one of those game flow things. So I do expect that to get somewhat corrected here, where Devin Singletary will be the leading RB with the most opportunities. And he was the leading RB in terms of snaps, playing in 59% of the snaps. So if he does get 59% of the snaps, again, I do expect those opportunities to be there for him. Like 7.4, he's a guy that could, I'm not saying he could dominate on the slate, but I also see Josh Allen being able to rush for a lot as well against this Titans defense. And obviously Josh Allen, extremely efficient last week. Only had to throw the ball 31 times, but had 3 TDs. He did have 2 INTs. We know that's really wasn't one of them wasn't really his fault. Okay. He had 10 rushing attempts, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Those rushing attempts should probably still be there for him in this game. So that is why I do want to go out of my way to play Josh Allen. And the big news on this slate is going to be whether Diggs is going to play, whether Gabe Davis plays or not. Okay. News came out on Saturday that he is more likely to sit than he is to play. He is currently questionable, but he's more on the doubtful side, apparently. Okay. And we got to wait and see on that. I'm not sure what that would mean in terms of would it be Jamison Crowder more? And I think it would be. I think it'd be more Jamison Crowder on the outside, and Isaiah McKenzie would still stay in that slot role. And that would be huge because Jamison Crowder played in the most snaps out of any, or not Jameson Crowder, Gabe Davis played in the most snaps out of any Bills skills player. Okay, so you get Jamison Crowder going into that role, that'd be a huge thing. Okay, that would be really big. And maybe we get news on that confirmed before lineup lock as to who would be filling in for Gabe Davis, but I expect it to be Jamison Crowder. And if that is true, he'd be still pretty cheap at this price point. I mean, in limited workload, as the receiver number 4 in this offense, snap count wise and depth chart wise, he still saw 4 targets and was able to score 5.8 DK points. Give him double those snaps, I almost think we could double the production here. Okay, so Jamison Crowder did look good. So I still think he'd be the one that we would want to go out of our way to play. Isaiah McKenzie going to be a fine slot play if you want to. Touching on Dawson Knox, we just know he's like a tight end dependent play. He's a guy that, 3 games out of a month, he could suck and then just has a 20-point DK game. He is definitely hit or miss. He's not a consistent option, and that's kind of what happens in a very impressive offense. It's not always going to be everyone's turn to feast. They kind of have to take turns depending on the game script, depending on the matchups, and that might not happen in this one, but with Gabe Davis out, I would expect maybe red zone work to go to Dawson Knox's way a little bit more. Touchdown dependent play. I'm not going crazy with that. Then I will say Zach Moss, he did get 12 opportunities. Okay. He had 22 total snaps, okay, and saw 12 opportunities. So he saw over 50% opportunities per snap. That's pretty impressive, okay? 6 targets is really what I'm hanging my hat on. And he was impressive as a runner. I know the yards per carry doesn't say that, but he did look good as a runner, okay? 5.4 is way too much to pay up for him. This might be the captain price point. Okay, it is. I mean, 3.6 is still a decent amount to pay up for him. I don't love that. I'd much rather play Devin Singletary, but it wouldn't be shocking to see Zach Moss once again hit value. Okay, that still wouldn't be shocking. So trying to make this lineup work, I'm going to put Josh Allen in the captain spot for now. Okay, and then we have 4.1 left over. Let's see who we can fit in there. It would probably be Zach Moss. And is that too many Buffalo Bills on this slate? It might be. It very much might be. Okay, I would like to get Westbrook in there. So let's try to figure out a way to get Westbrook in there instead. I think we can just go Diggs at the captain spot. and then Josh Allen. There we go. We're good. Like, I like that build a lot. We're getting 2 discounted value plays for the Tennessee Titans. Game script wise, they still should be on the field, catching some passes. And then we get the top 4 Buffalo Bills offensive players in this game. Okay, so very solid build there. But that's all I have for you guys for this one. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, please give me a like and subscribe. That does help out the channel a ton, which then helps out you guys. We'll be coming out with that other Monday Night Football build or lineups here video here shortly. But that's all I have for you guys for this one. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.